November 30th, 10:43, bright sunny day, innocent people. Truck approaches from the west entrance.
Mate, you can't park here!
10:45. No time to do anything about it.
I was wondering, as an actor, when you make a film like Closed Circuit, and you get the script and you shoot it and you move on, you know, your day's done, you're waiting for it to come out, and then something like Boston happens, and you're watching the news coverage, at what point, as an actor or just as a human being, does your mind go back to this movie that you just made?
Yeah, I guess it does, and also I think with the Ed Snowden stuff as well, I guess it's testament to the subject matter that it's always going to be relevant. It seems particularly relevant now, so. Yeah, that is always a weird feeling, for sure.
Has that ever happened before where like there was something, like you made a movie and it was like that close to really what was going on at the time? Because it's such a, whenever something like that happens, it always kind of blows my mind that two things, they're so unrelated, can happen so close to each other.
I mean, many years ago when we did Black Hawk Down, there was that sort of, quite often you do a film that changes the news forever for you, so I can never sit down and watch the news and see troops being killed without having a direct, relation to it. So, yeah, quite often films do that when you've worked on them, for sure.
Pretty much immediately. But then there's, to be honest with you, that this movie seems to be so on the button about so many things right
and
now.
Edward Snowden, you got that,
yeah,
that going on right now.
I think about it frequently.
It's kind of weird how it happened like that.
Well, it's not weird because we said it in the real world and we said it about things, so
right.
It's kind of, I suppose it makes sense. I mean, it's good because, you want, when you make a sort of, however you want to define it, I guess socially conscious movie like this one that deals with current political issues, you want it to generate questions more than you do it generate any answers,
right.
And you want it to kind of help perpetuate a dialogue, and I think that is what it's doing, and
right.
It's sort of great that it, in a way that it's come out at a very timely moment when it's very much in people's minds. But
this is the most high-profile murder case in British history.
You and Ms. Howe are defending the accused terrorist from the government.
And you're from the New York Times. I don't speak to journalists about trials relating to matters of national security.
Do you know of any reason which would prejudice your ability to carry out this case?
No, my lord.
no, my lord, I know of no reason.
One of the things I love about this movie is it reminds me of like the old school sort of 70s thriller, the
Absolutely.
kind of thing they don't make anymore.
Yeah.
As an actress, what is an aspect of that era of filmmaking that you wish you could have experienced?
That I wish I could have experienced? Oh, just being there. I'd love to have been, like, making movies then. It seemed to be such a vibrant time. So, yeah, but no, I know what you mean, because when I read it, I'm a huge fan of those films, like The Conversation, or, any number of those films made in the 70s in America, but I can't think of many films that had that same sort of conspiracy, paranoia element that are set in London. So when I read the script, I thought, this is perfect.
We have one now.
Yeah, it's a perfect environment for it.
Well, I've been, lucky. This is the second time for me to have a dip at that kind of genre and that kind of film. And I think, I don't know, maybe it's the fact that they're always following characters in the middle of really tense situations, which is what I love. And it's a treat as an actor to be given that opportunity. And they're the kind of films that I love to see. As you say, we don't have a lot of them these days, so when they're around, they tend to be embraced, particularly, by adult filmgoers who are dying to see something of that level.
That doesn't have robots and superheroes and
monsters. Well, yeah, I mean, it's
it.
just something a bit different, isn't it?
For sure.
There is some evidence against you, which the prosecution believes should be kept secret from the public and from you.
You broke into my chambers.
I think you're mistaken.
Claudia, we're being managed. Within 6 months, our client goes from driving a taxi to driving a brand new Mercedes, spending $2,000 a week. Where did all the money come from?
British intelligence brought him in as a double agent. He was supposed to lead them to the terrorist cell before the attack. And that's where it all went wrong.
When you make a movie like this, and it's so complex and so intelligent, you have to know that it's probably going to be an uphill battle box office-wise to sell it and get it out there. Whenever you're picking films, does its box office potential affect in any way whether or not you would want to do it?
Clearly not. No, never. I just selfishly read and react every single time to the material as a person and as an actor, and I never really know what I'm going to do next until I've finished a film, and then I start reading for the next one, and just always respond to whatever the strongest material is. So it doesn't matter to me what size or where it is or who it is. It's just the strength of the material.
Well, any artist or anyone working in any artistic field doesn't want to just be creating in a vacuum. You want people to go and see the stuff that you're doing.
Exactly.
So yeah, of course it does. But on the other hand, I don't want to do things that I would have no interest in people seeing just because I know that lots of people are going to see it.
Prior to the bombing, there was no contact between MI5 and the defendant.
Defense lawyers who ask the wrong sorts of questions, they're expendable.
There are over 500,000 closed-circuit cameras in London. I'm sure there are at least half a dozen watching me right now.
There are people who really want a conviction here.
Should have kept her mouth shut.
MI5 do not kill people on the mainland. Then what the hell have you got yourself into?
We're simply trying to defend our client. Dump your bag, dump everything.
Get out of there, now.
I love that your character has sort of like a watershed moment where she realizes that perhaps the government isn't as great as she thought it was, to say the least. Has there ever been a moment in your career where you realized that maybe this business isn't as great as you thought it was?
Of course.
Oh yeah? Okay. I'm listening.
Everyone has their moments of cynicism and doubt about anything they do on a daily basis. When you see the real workings of everything, then there's always surprises.
Right. And then when we talk, it reminds you why you're here.
Yeah.
I thought so. I knew it.
Thank you for doing that.
You're very welcome.
Well, I can't really complain. I guess early on you can kind of feel a bit more overwhelmed, but as I've gotten older and been around it a lot longer, it doesn't really bother me at all. So I certainly wouldn't want to be a 19 or 20-year-old tackling this business, but there's very little to complain about.
Fair enough.
There are powers at play that neither you nor I may even hope to control.